If your week constantly feels like it's running you, even though you're technically the boss, you're not alone. Here's what I've noticed most business owners I talk with don't really have a time management problem, they have a control problem. So, today I want to share with you a story, actually, a conversation I had recently with a friend, and a few shifts that might help you take back control of your week without adding more to your plate. Quick check in. Have you ever gotten to Friday and thought, wait, what did I even accomplish this week? Drop a thumbs up in the comments if this sounds familiar. Look, you didn't start your business to be busier. You started it because you wanted freedom to make an impact, serve clients you actually love, and still have time for your life. But somewhere along the way, your time stopped feeling like your own. Client requests started piling up, projects got urgent, your calendar filled in, and before you knew it, your week was running you instead of the other way around. And that's exactly what happened to a friend of mine. Her story might sound a lot like yours. So, I was talking to a friend who runs an Airbnb business. She got into it because she wanted control. Control over her schedule, her income, and how she spent her days. She wanted to be her own boss. But here's what happened. Over time, her customers kind of became her new boss. Every guest message, every review, every little request, it all landed on her. And to keep that 5-star rating, she felt like she couldn't even step away. Not when her kids were sick, not when she needed a break. The business always needed more. So when we were talking, we just started unpacking it, not in a formal way, just what could she let go of? What could she hand off? Where could she create a little breathing room? And one thing that came up, something I see all the time with business owners, is that not all tasks are created equal. Some tasks actually move your business forward. They're the high value, growth driving work. And then there are tasks that just keep the lights on. They're necessary, but they don't grow anything. And when you treat them all like they're equally important, that's when you lose control of your time. It actually reminded me of something from years ago when I worked for a major corporation that had over 15,000 employees. We hit a point where we couldn't hire anyone new. So we had to get really clear on our priorities. We started asking questions. Which positions actually bring in revenue? Which ones are core to our mission? And which ones are overhead? The nice to have, but not critical right now. And that same logic, it applies to how you spend your time. You can't give your full attention to everything. So the question becomes, what actually deserves it? Okay, so here's the first shift. And I think this is where most people get stuck. You don't take back control by managing harder. You take it back by leading differently. Because here's what happens most business owners try to fix overwhelm by adding more structure, more color coded calendars, more productivity apps, more hustle. But structure without strategy, you're just working faster in the wrong direction. Control isn't about doing everything perfectly, it's about deciding what actually deserves your time. And that starts with setting boundaries, real ones. Like what's non negotiable in your week? Time with your family, time for your health, the creative work that only you can do. Decide that first. Then let everything else build around it. Because once you start protecting what matters most, everything else stops taking over. All right, this next one is huge. And I think it's one of the biggest mindset shifts business owners can make. We tend to treat everything like it's equally important, but it's not. So I think about it this way. Some tasks are what I call $10,000 tasks, things like strategic planning, building relationships with key clients, developing that next offer, setting vision for your team, the work that actually moves the needle in your business. Then there are $100 tasks, stuff like client communication, project oversight, quality control. It's important work for sure, and it keeps your business running smoothly. And then there are the $10 tasks. These are the repetitive things that honestly almost anyone can do with a little training. Scheduling, data entry, managing your inbox, updating spreadsheets. And if you're spending your week buried in $10 tasks, you're running your business like an employee and not like a leader. So think about that corporate example I mentioned. We had to figure out which roles actually bring in revenue, which ones are core to what we do, and which ones are just nice to have, but not essential. You can do the same thing with your time. Ask yourself which of my tasks are actually creating growth, which ones are important but could be handed off to the right person, and which ones am I just holding on to out of habit. That clarity alone, it can give you hours back every week without adding anything new. Okay, so once you start seeing where your time actually matters, the next step is leading your week with intention. And I'm going to give you something really simple. It's a 20-minute rhythm you can do at the end of every week. I call it the 3-question Friday. Here's how it works. First, what actually moved the needle this week? Where did I make real progress? Second, where did I get stuck in reaction mode? Where did I spend time that really didn't move me forward? And third, what are my $10,000 tasks for next week? And how do I block time for those first before everything else fills in? Start with what matters most, not what screams the loudest. And here's the thing: rest, margin, focus time, those aren't luxuries, they're leadership tools. Because when you're constantly reacting, you're not leading, you're just surviving the week. So let me just recap this really quickly for you. Taking back control of your week, it isn't about finding the perfect planner. And it's not about adding more systems. It's about shifting how you think from operator of your business to CEO to leader. When you stop treating every task like it's equally important, when you actually protect time for the work that moves your business forward, that's when you start feeling in control again. Because you can't control your week by just working harder. You have to lead differently. And that means your time actually has to match what you say matters most. Okay, so if this resonated with you and you're ready to get some clarity on where your business actually needs your focus now, I made something that'll help. It's a quick quiz called the Ready to Scale Growth Stage Quiz. It helps you figure out where you are in your growth journey so that you can lead smarter, not harder. You can find it at bossbrilliance.com/quiz or just click the link below. It takes less than 3 minutes and you'll get clear next steps based on your results. And if this video helped, hit like and subscribe. There's more coming on delegation, team ownership, and what it actually looks like to lead your business like a CEO. Your business should fuel your life, not consume it. So take back control of your week, one intentional choice at a time. That's all for now. See you next time.